I am Nickhole Bernandino, an MD student from the University of the Philippines Open University, and I will be presenting my research entitled Managing Quality, Accessibility, and Cost Effectiveness, a case analysis of an educational institution transitioning to flexible learning. It is in the right amount of obvious that the global health crisis, or commonly known as the COVID-19 pandemic, has brought major modifications into our lives. And one of the greatly affected sectors is none other than the education. The Philippines in particular faced a critical situation because our educational system is not designed and prepared in this time of disruptions. And another, we are not yet ready to fully embrace the concept of distance education. And after so many deliberations and intellectual discourses, flexible learning has been chosen to be the most appropriate learning modality. And as defined by the CMO number 4 series of 2020, flexible learning is a pedagogical approach allowing flexibility of time, place, and audience. And we all know that transitioning from conventional classroom setting into a new mode of learning like flexible learning is not as easy as ABC. And it requires careful planning and decision making to ensure its effectiveness. That's the reason why I came up in this research study, because I would like to examine the issues and challenges faced by higher education in transitioning into a new mode of learning for the system analysis of quality of instructions, access or inclusivity, and cost effectiveness. So now let's proceed to the research questions. The study aims to answer the following research questions. Number 1, what is the flexible learning system at the educational institution and what are its features? We all know that every educational institutions are common in terms of their objective, and that is to offer quality or holistic education. But for this question, I would like to know the distinguishable features or the best practices being applied or employed by the educational institution as far as flexible learning is concerned. Number 2, what are the tensions in the implementation of this flexible learning system? For this question, I would like to know what are the challenges or the problems being encountered by the educational institution. And these tensions are summarized into 3 according to the idea of iron triangle in education. And these are the following: the quality of instruction, the accessibility and inclusivity, and cost effectiveness. And last but not the least, what are the theoretical implications or practical implications of educational institutions' experiences in implementing flexible learning? So for this question, I would like to discover the possible contribution of this study to the existing body of knowledge. The significance of the study is summarized into this. Essentially, the study will establish an in-depth understanding of how the institutions adjust in this unprecedented time. And secondly, this study can also help the institutional case selected for this study plan for their next steps in the adoption of flexible learning. Additionally, the findings can also contribute other insights that can further enrich our understanding of the dynamics of the 3 factors in the context of higher education institution in a developing country like the Philippines. And last but not the least, this study can also serve as a reliable basis for the future policymaking of the educational institution. For the scope and the delimitation, this study shall focus on the experiences and perspectives of the participants in an educational institution, while the study shall provide thick descriptions to enhance the transferability of the study's finding. The results and the conclusions of the study cannot be considered as generalizable to the population. And given the limited studies in this area, the study also aims to give more emphasis on analyzing the how institutional practices played out, or how, and the reasons or why for such practices and the perceptions on the outcomes of these practices or experiences, instead of determining commonality of experiences of these factors across institutions. And for the research design, the study shall adopt a case study approach to analyze the dilemmas in quality, cost, and access issues arising from interactions between the institution's flexible learning practices, initiatives, and actions by different actors or participants and the social context in which they are situated from Yin 2003. This approach will allow to the study to have a deeper and context-based and interpretive understanding of the hows and whys of the initiatives that were undertaken or not, the impacts of such initiatives, the challenges they have faced, and the actions they have taken, and the effects of these decisions. For the sampling techniques, I will be using two sampling techniques. The first one is the purposive sampling, and the second one is the snowball sampling. Well, obviously, all the participants of this study has direct relationship to the main study or to the main topic. The idea of snowball sampling, I think will enable me to conduct studies when finding participants might otherwise be challenging. Like in our case, not all students are reporting on site, so it will be more challenging for me to look for the possible participants. That's the reason why snowballing, I think, is very appropriate also in this type of research study. For the data gathering, the data will be collected through a semi-structured interview with the participants. So we all know that semi-structured interview is very effective data collection, especially if we really want to collect qualitative or open-ended questions, to explore participants' thoughts, and sometimes if we want to know more personal or sometimes insensitive issues also. So the approximate time of each interview will be 30 minutes. Overall, the interview process is expected to last for a period of 1.5 months, and the number of participants will depend also on the data saturation. For the data analysis, the transcribed interview data will be analyzed through thematic analysis, which involves coding the textual data in relation to the research questions. Then the codes will be then analyzed to identify all independent ideas in the form of basic themes. And there are few ethical issues which the researchers have to take into consideration for this study. Number one, and the most important one, of course, is related with the informed consent for the participants, and also the collection, retrieval, and even the keeping of data. So this is my presentation, and I would like to thank you all for giving me this opportunity to present in this student colloquium.